We're going to go ahead and jump right into it today. Basically, we had a great meeting. Were you able to get online this week at Thursday's team meeting, Tracy?
No, I had an appointment with my clients at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it was a great meeting. If you get a chance to come in, whenever Brent's in town, it's always kind of fun. But this time it was kind of weird because we had a different guy speaking, and he was actually really good. It wasn't Brent talking, it was another guy, and his name he goes by is Robbie T, ROBBYT. And he has Real Robbie T on Instagram. And he doesn't use his last name because he can't pronounce it. And so he actually made himself Robbie T, and that's how he uses everywhere. You can't even look up his last name. Everywhere you find him, it doesn't have his name, it has Robbie T. It's just
That's awesome. I love it.
All right, so I'm just going to jump through some of these notes. These would be kind of some fast moving stuff here. Or am I growing and getting better? You know, and I think that's something we have to ask ourselves all the time. Are we growing and getting better? And find out what you like to do repeatedly and are willing to spend the time to get better at, and do that over and over again. I think so many times we look for the perfect solution, or we look and see what other people are doing. How's that person recruiting people? How's that person getting new clients? How's that person doing whatever it is they're doing, right? But in reality, that's not going to work for us because we don't like doing it. If we don't like doing it, we won't do it very often, right? And so
Right.
I'm not saying everything in your life has got to be a party and enjoyable, but I'm saying when you find something that works and you like to do it, do more of it, do it consistently, put it on a calendar, and do it all the dang time. Now, it just so happens for me, for my personality, if you show me that it works, or if I actually believe it works, then that's what I like doing. And so I don't mind if I have the thought process, the belief system that getting on the phone every day for 2 hours is what works, then I'll get on the phone every day for 2 hours. If I have the thought process, a belief system that door knocking is what works, I'll go door knock every day, right? So you've got to find what you believe in and what you'd like to do. I'm pretty lucky because I like to do whatever it is that gets results, right?
Right.
And then consistently do it over and over. I'm going to drop into this. It has nothing to do with attraction so much. It does actually, but it's a different way of looking at it. Fear-based objections get handled generally in 3 different ways. This was really good. Somebody tells you, I'm not going to buy a house right now because the interest rates are high. The first way you handle that objection is you believe them. In reality, that's probably not why. There's probably another reason. You shouldn't necessarily just believe them because they say it. You ask them, well, tell me more about that. And that's a standby. You're trying to solicit more information from them. And what happens when you say, tell me more about something that is an objection, is they start to tell you all the reasons why their viewpoint is true. So now they're starting to reinforce their own limiting belief because you've asked them to tell you more about it. And so it becomes an issue. You debate them. You start trying to tell them why, well, over the last 18 years, interest rates aren't really low, not really high right now, because over the last 18 years, they averaged 12%. Now they're only 5%. And so you're wrong. Well, that doesn't really work either. Believe me, if telling people they were wrong and debating them was the way to get ahead, I'd own the Taj Mahal right now. So that's not the way to get ahead either. So what you need to do is you need to pivot. So they give you an objection, you acknowledge their objection, and then you ask them a motivationally themed question. What do I mean by that? You ask them something about their motivations. Well, Tracy, why did you start looking for a house in the first place?
Because my landlord was kicking us out and we needed a place to go.
Right. So instead of me talking about the 5%, instead of me talking about the interest rate, instead of me talking about their objection, I'm not going to focus on that objection. I'm going to move off to the side. I'm going to acknowledge it. Yes, you're right, Tracy. Interest rates are pretty high right now. However, I just wanted to get a reminder. Why is it that you started looking at houses in the first place? And whatever it is that you say, That's the thing that's driving your behavior. And I need to come back to that. All right. 4th of July. 4th of July is here. It's an awesome time. It's a great time to be in America. This is our celebration of who we are and what we are. It's kind of interesting through the eyes of other countries, but the 4th of July is about the freedom. It's about our freedom. It's about the fact that you can do anything in America. Whatever it is you want to do, I'm living proof of that. I'm a 9th grade dropout and I'm out here slaying it every day. And if I want to pivot my business and go into a different business, I can do it at the drop of a hat. Why? Because I'm in America, right? Because I have all this unlimited opportunity given to me, right? But people died for that opportunity. People fought wars over that opportunity. Even now, we continually fight. Even now, we continually have our Supreme Court battling with politicians over what's right and what's wrong. You know, there's some very contentious decisions going on right now in the Supreme Court. But you know what? We're the longest standing democracy in the world. And that a lot of it is about our Constitution and how it was originally set up. And all of it is about how we fight for freedom and how we fought for our freedom and how we don't have that structure that many other countries have, that where all the power is concentrated in a very few people. Now, there are some cynical people in America that will say that the same thing is true here. I know Tracy's husband is very politically inclined, and he would probably debate with me that we have a similar situation here, and they just call it the rich, or the power behind the.
That's the beauty.
What would Rob
though,
say?
Barry.
What would Rob say?
That's the beauty though, Barry, is that it's called a debate and you can actually have a conversation without someone taking out a gun and killing you.
That is true. So anyway, so I do think that no matter what happens, we are in the greatest country in the whole world. And I hope for the Philippines' sake that they lean more and more towards democracy and less away from things that keep you down. Fight for that, make a difference. And I think that all of us can make a difference. Here's a quote of a friend of mine. I don't remember who said it originally, but I've heard him say it 1,000 times. All it takes for evil to succeed in this world is for good men to stand by and do nothing. And that is true wherever you're at. That is true everywhere. That's true in your neighborhood. It's true in your state. It's true at the national level, but it's true all over the place. Okay. I'm addicted to learning. I always want to be learning. You know, I met somebody the other night at a investor event, and at this investor event, they were talking to me. They were the speaker at the event, and I just happen to know them because I go to these events all the time. And so afterwards, they came up to me and were hearing about what I'm doing in property management and different things. And the next thing you know, they were like, "Hey, I want to sit down and take you to coffee and learn from you." I was fixing to ask her the same thing as I'm getting to that segue in the conversation. And I was getting ready to say, "Hey, I want to sit down and take you to coffee so I can learn from you." And she turns to me and says, "I want to sit down and have you meet with me and my partner so we can learn from you." And I tell you, that's a sign of people who are growing, right? Mm-hmm. Who are you learning from? Who are you going out to coffee with? Who are you finding out what they're doing? You know, that is a big deal. It was just hilarious. The other thing is that night, the speakers, I think they gave 4 different books that they were talking about in that people should read. I've got all 4 of them. Right? I mean, I'm 4 for 4. You know, I've already got them. I've already read them. Right? Why? Because I'm addicted to learning. I'm addicted to growing. I'm not satisfied sitting still. Right? And that's just the nature of who I am. And it's the nature of who you should be and you should aspire to. And if you're not, push yourself out of the comfort zone. I was telling my kids, I think the other day, or somebody it was last night at a political event. I was telling them that, you know, it was about, you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Right? And so push yourself outside of your comfort zone. All growth equals change, and all change is uncomfortable. Growth always equals change. You're never going to grow if you're too comfortable. Okay, so enough of that. I told you that I would have a way for you to grow some business, right? For each one of you to grow your real estate business. I know we stay focused on attraction, but I'm telling you, there's nothing more attractive than a successful real estate agent. If you're not being successful selling houses and making a living, then you're not going to be very attractive to someone else, right? And so you have to work on your business in order to be attractive to others. And so here's a key thing. What groups are you a part of? What networking groups are you a part of? What meetups are you going to, right? Everybody know what meetup is? MEETUP.com, meetup.com. Find some investor clubs to go to. Find some, I go to Real Estate Roundtable. I go to NorCal RIA. I haven't been to that one in a while, but there are probably, I don't know, a dozen different groups meeting at different nights all over the city here. We've got a big city. There's probably 100 groups meeting, right? So find some groups to be a part of. LATIP is an organization that has meetings and they refer business to each other, LETIP. It's hard to find a LATIP group that doesn't have a real estate agent, but you can at least go visit some groups and maybe you'll find somebody that's wanting to start one and you could help them. I sold homes to, I started 3 different LATIP groups. I sold homes to almost everybody in those groups. I mean, not everybody, but I probably sold, over the years, I probably sold at least a dozen homes for LATIP group members.
That's awesome.
Maybe 20 homes for LATIP group members, right?
Yeah.
My investor clubs, when I go to investor clubs, they're chock full. It's unusual for me to go to an investor club that I've been to on a regular basis that I haven't sold somebody a house there, right? So, but I didn't do it 9 to 5, right? I didn't come to my office, stay in my office and do that. What I did is I went out into the community and talked to people, right? And figured out what they were doing and learned about them and helped support their group. You know, most of those groups would just love to have visitors.
You know, can I interject with,
absolutely.
at PCAR is a great, it's just PCAR, the marketing meetings, it's just a great, getting to know everybody, you know? And I was invited to OAC, which is for seniors, and I'm the only real estate person in that club at the moment. And so I see the benefit of what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it. Yeah.
How do you, I mean, if you're going to say referral business, and that's a great form of business, then don't you need to meet a lot more people?
Right.
You know,
right.
You can get it 2 different ways. You can just do what we do, where we go get some open house people, and we go to open house and we sell them houses, Then you come back to those same people, asking them for business all the time. Well, what are you doing the other times? What are you doing the other times when you don't have that business? Go be part of a new group. They say that everyone knows 150 people, right? So that's the general rule that they use when they're talking about social networks, right? That everybody knows 150 people. You should have that in your database as an agent, no problem, 150 people. But as an agent, that should be like 1,500 people, right? Because there's a direct correlation between how many people know your full name and a little bit about your life story and how many homes you'll sell. Direct correlation, right? The more people you can put into that know and like me category, the more homes you're going to sell. Period. End of story. There's nothing else that's a better indicator. Okay. Yeah. Here's another group for you. You got meetups, you got investor clubs. I happen to love those because I love investing, right? And so if that's not your thing, if it's senior citizens, what's the name of that club again?
OAC.
OAC. What does that mean?
You know what? I honestly don't know what it means, but it is a senior, it's once a month, and they meet in Auburn and Roseville, and it's all about seniors. So there's like assisted living presidents that are there. There's an investor that's there. There's a property manager that comes. But you know what? It was PCAR, and I met Edward Jones person, and he said, you know, come to these meetings, they're once a month, there's no realtors there.
Good.
And because you're a senior real estate specialist, I think it would be great for you. And John just gave me that information for free. You know what I mean?
Oh, that was John
Beneke from Edward Jones.
Guy? Kind of a big guy?
Yeah.
Big. You know,
really,
he also met John. Also, I've been to John has a networking group as well with business people. And I've been to that meeting and met people. He invited Rachel out to that as well. And then Rachel is talking about joining Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a great organization that teaches you how to be a better public speaker, and it will change your life. Toastmasters is flat out incredible.
Yeah.
Rachel's talking about joining that. It meets at 7 o'clock in the morning. So whoa, 7 o'clock in the morning, you might have to get up early. You might have to change your schedule. You might have to do something that's a little radical. Yeah, you might have to in order to grow. You might have to. I'm just blown away. I get the pleasure of working next to Tom Daves, and you know, it's just amazing. I remember when he went and made it big, and yesterday we were talking about something, and it was just about we were talking about REOs, and I was like, well, if you wanted to get REOs, you have to do this. And Tom's like, yep, you got to get on a plane and go talk to him, right? Because that's what he was willing to do. He was willing to get on a plane, fly across the country, didn't know who he was going to be talking to, walk into a conference room of people, a conference center of people that he didn't have a relationship with. And you know what? He came out and became one of the number one agent for Keller Williams because of that willingness to do it for 7 years running, right? Why?
Yeah.
Because he was willing to get uncomfortable. He was willing to go out and do things that most people aren't willing to do. So I want to encourage you guys, go get a part of it, be a part of a network, be a part of a group. Do not stay in your house. Do not think that you're going to do it all by yourself. You have to go meet new people. You have to. I've got my focus on starting a property management business right now. You know what I'm doing? I'm desperately trying to get big enough so that I can hire people to manage it so I can go out and meet new people. Because I know that the true growth comes from me meeting a lot of people every day, right? Not from how well I manage it. It doesn't come from how well the T's get dotted and the X's get crossed. That's the skill set. We can teach that skill set. I can have somebody do that. But what I can't do is go put this space and this energy into another group of people unless I go meet them, unless I get out of the office, unless I get out of here to go do it. Does that make sense? Guys, we've got build coming up. It's very important that if you have a way, if there's any possible way for you to get there, you need to get there. If you want to get there and you can't get there for whatever reason, if it's a problem that money can solve, come talk to me about it. If you want to get there and your problem is money, come talk to me about it. Okay. So I'm sending this out to everybody in my organization. There's nothing better that I could give you for this next year's worth of production, whether it be attraction or whether it be for your individual sales. There's nothing better I could give you than to help you get to build. I feel very strongly with it. Rachel's going, I'm going. We want you to be there too, wherever you're at in the country, and whoever line you're in, even if you're in one of the down lines that you're not a direct report to me, get a hold of me. Let's see if we can make this happen for you. Okay, guys, any questions for me? All right. Have a great day, Tracy.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.